Love can only be described the way it is lived, in parts, hoping that the whole makes sense even though we know none of the pieces do.
Anyone who is really close to me knows that I don't have the best luck when it comes to relationships. I've been through a lot over the years, and I began to gain the mentality of expecting the worst. I was recently single, and I had so many men in my DMs acting anything other than gentlemanly, making crude comments, and only looking for one thing. Then you reached out to me. You asked me basic questions about myself, like you genuinely wanted to know me for who I was. You listened and remembered things I had said. You complimented me in the most respectful manner and never assumed or expected anything of me. These are very basic things, but unfortunately, not many men have these qualities anymore. You stood out to me. Your basic kindness made me zone in on you completely and made me want to take a chance again. We talked over the next several weeks, and you were so patient with me and my busy schedule, another thing the others couldn't comprehend. Finally, the date we had set to meet in person came, and I think we were both pretty nervous. Meeting someone in person for the first time usually is pretty nerve-wracking. For me, putting myself out there after numerous failed relationships was scary. I'd attained the idea that something was wrong with me that made people eventually want to leave. Then you pulled into my driveway. I met you outside, and you got out of your car with a nervous smile. I looked down, and in your hands was a bouquet of flowers, and in the other, hard cider that we had talked about being my favorite drink. I felt a rush of shy excitement as a smile grew upon my face. I remember thinking to myself how you actually tried and put effort in for me, something I wasn't used to anymore. We made our way inside, and as we talked and got to know each other even better, I found myself feeling weirdly comfortable, which is something that, as an introvert, I rarely feel, even with people I'm already acquainted with. Something about your energy just really put me at ease, and I knew I had to see you again and take that chance on you.
I'd met you backstage. I was dating someone else at the time. Even though I was taken and we only spoke in passing, something drew me to you. I didn't know what to call it, nor did I know how to explain what feeling had passed through me about you, someone I didn't know very well. When my relationship had ended, you were one of the first few people I reached out to. Yes, I didn't know you, but you seemed nice and I needed a friend. We spoke more and more, and eventually we began hanging out. I remember kissing you in the same backstage where we had met. We didn't start dating right away, but the kissing continued. You taught me about a strange new world I didn't know, but I adapted quickly, even during moments of jealousy. Then one night, I finally told you I loved you, and I felt your kisses grow more passionately. We had not been together all that long, but I knew you were my once-in-a-lifetime. You made me remember that soulmates could exist even when I erased their being from my mind.
The face of all the world is changed, I think, since first I heard the footsteps of thy soul move still, oh, still beside me, as they stole betwixt me and the dreadful outer brink of obvious death, where I, who thought to sink, was caught up into love and taught the whole of life in a new rhythm. The cup of dole God gave for baptism, I am fain to drink and praise its sweetness. Sweet with thee anear. The names of country, heaven, are changed away for where thou art or shalt be, there or here. And this lute and song loved yesterday, the singing angels know, are only dear because thy name moves right in what they say.
Espresso beans linger in the air. The steam of freshly baked dough fills your nose, her tea warm to the touch of her fingertips. Across the rosewood you sit, cedar eyes peering through her, pools of mocha staring back at you. I want to settle down, she sings. Both bodies still as a murmur of voices take away the silence between them. You smirk. Time frozen as you gather your thoughts, the pools in her eyes no longer rippling. Fingertips cold. Settle. Settle like sand at the bottom of the ocean, never slipped between your fingers, feet firmly planted, slightly swayed by the wind, never lifted off the ground. A light whisper in your ear, we are one. You melt into the floor. I want to settle down, she sings. Will you surrender?
The first weeks we met will forever be seared in my heart. The instant butterflies were all so new for me. I felt guilty for drifting off into thoughts about you, and yet I constantly found other reasons to be in your presence. I could feel you even when you were sitting rows behind me. I could feel you looking at me even if I wasn't looking at you. I would hear your voice from another room and I have to prepare myself for when you entered. All of my senses were heightened for you. The kind of hyper-awareness that makes my chest turn red and my hands and feet start to sweat. You made me feel happy and sad. Happy that all the new love songs were only about you, and sad because I didn't know when I would be able to sing them at the top of my lungs for you. I was constantly intrigued by you. I wanted to know more and hear every story. I had to remind myself to actually listen when you talked because I would drift off into daydreams about talking to you every single day. I wanted to know all the paths to your heart and take all the shortcuts to speed there. But you were an old mysterious door. The kind of door that's closed but has beams of lights shining through the cracks. The kind you need to open with a skeleton key. You can peek through the hole, but you can't open the door without the right fit. I wanted to make myself malleable, to squeeze in and open you up. And then when I knew we would be apart for some time, I had an instant fear that I was never going to be able to get past that door. I couldn't help but feel like those few weeks together would just fade into the past. But I wasn't quite ready to just forget about you. With every part of my being, I had to figure out a way for us to be together. I waited it out, I played it cool, but there was a fire inside me that I just wasn't going to let be put out. I still feel your handshake from when we first met. I still replay your laugh and the compliments we shared as we got to know each other. I still fall asleep enchanted to have met you. It felt like a big sigh of relief. It felt like one of those carnival rides where you spin around so fast laughing and screaming but feel instantly nauseous just as it's about to end. It felt like time flew by and stood still at the same time. It felt like a line of music that finally resolves. It felt like nothing and no one else mattered. It felt warm and comfortable and right. And if I ever felt love at first sight, that was certainly it.
Before we met, I had convinced myself that relationships weren't for me, that I had so many things I wanted to do and simply couldn't fit a relationship into that picture. Then we met and you challenged me. It was a peculiar change of pace, but I liked it. It felt very odd at the time, which is probably why I did everything in my power to make it seem more normal. I tried to rush, but you were dead set on taking your time to figure out yourself. At first, I couldn't stand it. I ran myself up a wall trying to figure out what was taking so long. What did you have to figure out? Then I came to realize that you simply needed time to get your shit together. You didn't want to get right back into something and make your problems my problems. I grew to admire this about you. You barely even knew me, yet you knew that it wasn't a fair trade. You put me before you and we had just met. You taught me that taking my time is okay, even if it's just to decide where to get dinners or even try and learn to dance. You taught me that people don't always have an ulterior motive. I always lived in fear of my anxieties, and you gave the world every ounce of you without fear. I had always loved that about you. You helped me face the world head on because I knew no matter what the outcome, I'd always have your love by my side. Thank you for helping me live a much less anxious life with a lot more love in it. I love you.
Some days I can't believe my luck, or whatever it is to have you in my life. Being around you feels like a forever vacation, like that first sip of a drink where the ice has melted just a touch, so you get a taste of refreshing water, and then the citrus hits you. Like the hug of a humid night that ends with a jump in the water and drying off by the fire, the scent of smoke clinging to your hair. You are so needed in this realm, and I hope you feel that every day, but especially on the day you came into this world. Happy birthday. You deserve the best year.
When you fall, fall with ease. Find someone who holds your hand at just the right moments during a 2-hour drive to nowhere. If he calls at 3 a.m. with nothing to say, know that he's found his home in your lungs. Grace the back of his neck with your lips as if you're untangling the vines in his spine. They've grown too thick from his heart. Find someone who breathes in your beauty. It's 2 p.m. in Woodstock, and the sun shines perfectly through the trees. You see the twisted shadow the branches leave. He sees the radiance in your eyes and how lovely your hair blows behind you. Find someone whose love tastes like Sunday morning tea. When he offers to write you songs, tell him to make them up on the spot and forget them. Melodies are not synonymous with adoration. Why trap something so tangible in a song? Find someone who embodies nothing you've defined as ideal. If you call him at 3 a.m. with nothing to say, know he's already understood your minute of silence. The heartbeat in your chest has already said, I love you 72 times.
You encounter tons of people in your life. Nameless faces pass you by day to day at work, on the street, at gatherings, and so on. I've always been someone who's interested in learning more about a person than what meets the eye. What's your name? Where did you go to school? When's your birthday? Forming acquaintances comes easy to me, and crafting those encounters into friendships is a skill of mine. Well, it is now. It wasn't always like that. I thought I really had a handle on myself a couple years ago. I thought I really knew who I was. Happy-go-lucky kind of person who never had struggles worth mentioning because someone else has it worse. I thought I was all good. Calculated, collected, and safe. Somehow meeting you changed all that, for the better. Meeting you was definitely a bright spot in my life. To be more accurate, I think I just met you when my life entered the eye of the storm. All the mess before you happened, and somehow the mess continued but you stuck by my side through it all. My life didn't become perfect, but you showed me how to improve it by doing only one thing: being you. You opened up to me about your struggles, and I discovered mine through comfortable conversation. I tried so hard to leave the past in the past, but taking a trip back there while holding your hand showed me where I wanted and needed to be. Way better than holding a bottle. So much better than clutching fear. Much healthier than stifling the voices of anxieties that lived within me. Tears produced by self-realization, but dried by your kindness and acceptance. No longer cuffed by old habits that were produced of my own hands, silencing the voices of reason. I don't love all of what I know now, to be honest, but I have a better idea how to deal with it. And if shit really hits the fan, I know you're there willing and waiting to help, as I am for you. I've been through some really scary stuff after meeting you, but you just picked me up and assured me things will be all right, and we keep it moving. From the eye of the storm to the second brutal half, I somehow find the final piece that was missing to truly reveal myself. You. Completely unexpected, but forever grateful. You've helped me step into who I really am and leave that shell of a person behind. We're now on this journey together, and the future is a blank slate waiting to be written by our jokes, our trips, downfalls, triumphs, but most importantly, our love. Thank you. I love you. So, you want to get McDonald's or Wendy's tonight?
I'm reduced to a thing that wants Virginia. Last night, I composed a beautiful letter to you in the sleepless nightmare hours of the night, and now it's all gone. I just miss you in a quite simple, desperate human way. You, with all your undumb letters, would never write so elementary a phrase as that. Perhaps you wouldn't feel it. And yet, I believe you will be sensible of a little gap. But you would clothe it in so exquisite a phrase that it would lose a little of its reality. Whereas with me, it is quite stark. I miss you more than I could have believed, and I was prepared to miss you a good deal. So this letter is really just a squeal of pain. It's incredible how essential to me you have become. I suppose you're accustomed to hearing these things, Damn you, you spoiled creature. I won't make you love me anymore by giving myself away like this. But oh, my dear, I can't be clever or standoffish with you. I love you too much for that, truly. You have no idea how standoffish I can be with people I don't love. I have brought it to a fine art. But you have broken down all my defenses. And I don't really resent it. Oh, please forgive me for writing such a miserable letter.
Thank you for being the burst of energy that you are. You change the room because you are sunlight and love. You are the bliss that goes unwritten about.
And thank you for smooching me and holding my face and kissing me like I was the last woman on earth. And thank you for holding me close and letting me laugh with you like we have never laughed before. Thank you for being honest with me. And thank you for looking in my eyes. And thank you for smelling like coconut like you always do. Thank you for being the softest piece of French toast, accompanied by in-season strawberries. And thank you for being so fluffy that I could just fall asleep on you and never tend to another obligation forever, for the rest of my life. And thank you for being so soft that I could fall into you and never know that I was falling because the land would be better than where I was before. I want to fall asleep with you on the beach and get swallowed up by the sea and live in an underground cave with you forever. You are the sweetest packet of sugar that I steal from diners. You are the last cinnamon roll that was ever given for free. And your voice sounds like a kitten's purr. You are the softest, juiciest mango that falls off the skin and does not leave strings in my teeth. You're also the feeling of freshly washed hands after eating the perfect mango. You are the yellow and orange that you see before you taste and know that this is going to be the best fruit in the world. I had to love myself first in order to love you. And one day, we will look at each other and be looking in a mirror. And it will be the most dainty and fair mirror there ever was. Like what you'd imagine the mirror, mirror on the wall mirror to look like in real life. A mirror found deep, deep in the forest where you discover a new superfruit that's a berry, and it's a color that only you can see. It's more beautiful than green or purple.
Your letter came this morning, but why do you think I don't feel or that I make phrases, lovely phrases, you say, which rob things of reality? Just the opposite. Always, always, always I try to say what I feel. Will you then believe that after you went last Tuesday, exactly a week ago, out I went into the slums of Bloomsbury to find a barrel organ? But it did not make me cheerful. And ever since, nothing important has happened. Everything is dull and damp. I have been dull. I have missed you. I do miss you. And I shall miss you. And if you don't believe it, then you're a long-eared owl and ass. Lovely phrases. But, of course, to return to your letter, I always knew about your standoffishness. Only I said to myself, I insist upon kindness. With this aim in view, I set out for Longbarn. Open the top button of your jersey, and you will find, nestling inside, the most lively squirrel with the most inquisitive nature, but a dear creature, all the same.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not really a love poet. In fact, every time I try to write about love, my hands cramp, just to show me how painful love can be. And sometimes my pencil breaks, just to prove to me that every now and then, love takes a little more work than you planned. See, I heard that love is blind, so I write all my poems in Braille. And my poems are never actually finished because love is endless. I always believe that real love is kind of like a supermodel before she's airbrushed. It's pure and imperfect, just the way God intended. See, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a love poet. But if I was to wake up tomorrow morning and decide that I really wanted to write about love, I swear that my first poem would be about you. And how I loved you the same way that I learned how to ride a bike. Scared. But reckless, with no training wheels or elbow pads, so my scars can tell the story of how I fell for you. You see, I'm not really a love poet, but if I was, I'd write about how I see your face in every cloud and your reflection in every window. You see, I've written like 1,000,000 poems hoping that somehow, maybe, some way, you'll jump out of the page and be closer to me. Because if you were here right now, I would massage your back until your skin sings songs that your lips don't even know the words to. Until your heartbeat sounds like my last name and you smile like the Pacific Ocean. I want to drink the sunlight in your skin. If I was a love poet, I'd write about how you have the audacity to be beautiful even on days when everything around you is ugly. You see, I write about your eyelashes and how they're like violin strings that play symphonies every time you blink. If I was a love poet, I'd write about how I melt in front of you like an ice sculpture every time I hear the vibration in your voice. So whenever I see your name on my caller ID, my heart, it plays hopscotch inside of my chest. It climbs onto my ribs like monkey bars and I feel like a child all over again. I know this sounds strange, but every now and then I pray God somehow turns you back into one of my ribs, just so that I never have to spend an entire day without you. I swear, I'm not a love poet. But if I was to wake up tomorrow and write a love poem, my first poem, it would be about you.
Will you be kind to me, Susie? I am naughty and cross this morning, and nobody loves me here. Nor would you love me if you should see me frown and hear how loud the door bangs whenever I go through. And yet, it isn't anger. I don't believe it is. For when nobody sees, I brush away big tears with the corner of my apron and then go working on. Bitter tears, Susie, so hot that they burn my cheeks and almost scorch my eyeballs. But you have wept much, and you know they are less of anger than sorrow. I do love to run fast and hide away from them all. Here in dear Susie's bosom, I know is love and rest. And I never would go away did not the big world call me and beat me for not working. Your precious letter, Susie, it sits here now and smiles so kindly at me and gives me such sweet thoughts of the dear writer. when you come home, darling. I shan't have your letter, shall I? But I shall have yourself, which is more, oh, more and better than I can even think. I sit here with my little whip, cracking the time away till not an hour is left of it. And you are here, and joy is here. Joy now and forevermore.
Happy birthday, baby. I really wish I could be there for you today. I'm getting a bit lonely without you here, baby. I know you feel the same, so I don't need to describe how much I miss you. You mean the world to me, honey. I'm gonna go to bed early, but I'll try and call you in a few hours. I'm exhausted from staying out last night. I like talking to you as much as possible. It makes me feel as if you're still here. Well, if you wake up and haven't heard from me, I wanted you to have this email. You can call me if you like, though, and wake me up. I love you so much, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Good night. And good morning.
Hi, my sugar butt. I miss your face. I miss your hugs. I miss you, period. I love you very much. And I was thinking about you all day. And can you call back or text me or anything? You can fly to me. You can throw me kisses, mail me a package. I don't care. Whatever you do. You do you. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I cannot exist without you. I am forgetful of everything but seeing you again. My life, it seems, stops there. I can see no further. You have absorbed me. I have a sensation at the present time as though I were dissolving. I have been astonished that men could die martyrs for their religion. I shuddered at it. Well, I shudder no more. I could be martyred for my religion. Love is my religion. I could die for that. I could die for you. My creed is love, and you are its only tenant. You have ravished me away with a power that I cannot resist.
You are the most amazing, beautiful, wonderful, sweet, kind, funny man I have ever met, and I love you.
Hey, baby, I'm on my way home. I love you.
There are officially 365 days until we are married. So I thought I'd give you a few reasons why I chose you. It's that nervous yet still confident look on your face when we first met. And that bewildered look on your face when the lady sitting next to us told us to turn your phone off during our first date. Most of all, the kiss you gave me on my cheek when I nervously ran up to you to give you a hug. I don't think we would have had a second date if that didn't happen. Our Christmas tree forts, they have become a tradition in our household and definitely something that we will share with our future little ones. You clean all of the cat boxes, and honestly, that takes the cake. Thank you. Even though you don't remember everything you say, you try your hardest, and I appreciate that. But next year, on Christmas Eve, we are wearing pajamas. It's our tradition, remember? The memory book you started writing earlier this year, the one I know you will never, ever finish because you are super duper forgetful. 30 days until my birthday, what do you have up your sleeve? Oh, and thank you for being patient, for doing this careless diet with me. I love you. You're, oh no, whenever the toilet overflows, it kills me every time. Breakfast? You try your hardest to speak my love language even though you don't understand it. You try your best to give me gifts and sweet compliments whenever you can. And I try to clean the dishes every once in a while. I'm not going to read my vows to you on our big day, so I thought I'd write it in a letter to give to you with all the other letters to keep that I've given you earlier this year. I'm not going to make a giant declaration of our love in front of all the people who love us most because I'm an awkward human being, and I don't need to. But I'll make you a few promises. I promise to always keep it real. I promise to always throw a fit every time you beat me in a Pokemon battle. I promise to try my best to succeed for our family. I promise to try to keep the sink clean of dishes, keyword, try. But most of all, I promise to learn how to play Smash Brothers with you because I love you so much. I promise to never stop loving you. You who takes care of me and our 4 cats, who breaks his back to provide. I will always love you.
My dearest boy, this is to assure you of my immortal, my eternal love for you. Tomorrow all will be over. If prison and dishonor be my destiny, think that my love for you, and this idea, this still more divine belief, that you love me in return, will sustain me in my unhappiness, and will make me capable, I hope, of bearing my grief most patiently. Since the hope, nay, rather the certainty, of meeting you again in some world is the goal and the encouragement of my present life. I must continue to live in this world because of that.
Goofy, my darling. Hasn't it been a lovely day? I woke up this morning and the sun was lying like a birthday parcel on my table. So I opened it up and so many happy things went fluttering into the air. Like love and the remembered feeling of our skins cool against each other in other mornings. And you phoned and said I had written something that pleased you. And so I don't believe I've ever been so heavy with happiness. The moon slips into the mountain like a lost penny, and the fields are black and pungent. And I want you so near so that I can touch you in this autumn stillness, even a little bit like the last echo of summer. The horizon lies over the road to Lausanne, and the succulent feels like a guillotine, and the moon bleeds over the water. And you are not so far away that I can't smell your hair in the drying breeze. Oh, darling, I love these velvet nights. I've never been able to decide whether the night was a bitter enemy or a grand patron, or whether I love you most in the eternal classic half-lights where night blends with day, or in the full religious fanfare of midnight, or perhaps in the lux of noon. Anyway, I love you most. And you phoned me, and just because you phoned me tonight, I stood on those telephone wires for 2 hours after holding your love like a parasol to balance me. My dear, I'm so glad you finished your story. Please, let me read it Friday, and I will be so sorry if we have to have 2 rooms. I love the way you always are. Dear, good night, dear. Dear, dear, dear. Dear, dear, dear.
Trying to use words to convey what you mean to me is a flimsy tool, but I'll do my best. This is because who you are to me is structural. The structure of my life has been built not around you so much as with and through you. It's about the trust. I trust you to show up, to mean well, to look past my multitude of superficial storms, to assume the best, and then show up some more. And you always do. You literally rejoice when I grow and learn new things. My victories do not diminish you. Your courage is contagious. You smell so good. When I first met you when we were young, I knew you'd be even better looking when you were older. And I was right. I am continuously gobsmacked that you decided to stake your future on me and with me. I really want to stay alive so that we could stay together.
Happy birthday, Princess. We get old and get used to each other. We think alike. We know what the other wants without asking. Sometimes we irritate each other a little bit. Maybe sometimes we take each other for granted. But once in a while, like today, I meditate on it and realize how lucky I am to share my life with the greatest woman I ever met. You still fascinate and inspire me. You influence me for the better. You're the object of my desire, the number one earthly reason for my existence. I love you very much. Happy birthday, Princess.
You don't have a superiority complex. I've seen you cry. Not that crying is a bad thing, it just means that you're human. You're not superior. You're not perfect. None of us are, and that's okay. I just wish you would admit it instead of shutting everyone out. I can't answer the phone because talking to people is detrimental to me. I don't want to talk to anyone ever. I just wish everyone would disappear. That doesn't sound like somebody with a superiority complex. To me, that sounds like someone who's hurting and won't let me be there for them. I want to be there for you. I'm hurting too. You are a kind soul that I never would have imagined could grace my life. I thank whoever is controlling this fucked up world we live in for letting you cross my path. It was magical. It was fun. It had momentum. These past 5 months of dancing through cell phone towers and How I Met Your Mother episodes, eating egg and cheese bagels and whatever else I could get my grubby little hands to fake cook in the kitchen. I know you wanted to help me, and I know you never felt like you were, but I love you, and whatever you do is enough for me. God, I feel like I'm lighting a candle at my sweet 16. I don't feel the weight of it, but I know you do. And for that, I'm sorry. I wish I could be this happy, sweet girl all the time and be funny and laugh and tell jokes. That's who I am. That's who I know I am. But nothing feels like me anymore. I don't feel like me anymore. And I'm sorry you have to deal with this stranger. In my dreams, I come so close to death, it scares me. And when I wake up, it feels like death is a warm hug, like it's the only option, like it could be a solution. I want you to be happy. I want you to do what you want to do, but the idea of you wanting to live without me, the idea of walking down the aisle and you not being there to greet me is a nightmare. I guess a part of me knows that I will always love you. My stomach churns at the idea of us passing by each other, holding hands, laughing, in love with someone new. In my world, I don't want to witness that happen, do you? If your answer is yes, then don't speak to me again. I can't be here in your life if that's the world you're going to live in. You can't expect me to give you all of me while I'm waiting here for you to be ready. If the answer is no, I know. It'll get better. I'll wait here for us.
I'm writing this letter from a hospital room before I'm admitted into the operating theater. They want me to hurry, but I am determined to finish writing first, as I don't want to leave anything unfinished. Especially now that I know what they're up to. They want to hurt my pride and cut a leg off. When they told me it would be necessary to amputate, the news didn't affect me the way that everybody expected. No, I was already a maimed woman when I lost you. Again, for the umpteenth time, maybe, and I still survived. I'm not afraid of pain.
and you know it. It is almost inherent to my being, although I confess I suffered, and a great deal, when you cheated on me. And every time you did it, not just with my sister, but with so many other women. How could they let themselves be fooled by you? You believe that I was furious about Christina, but I confess today that it was not about her. It was about you and me. And first of all, me, since I could never understand what it is that you looked and look for, what they could give you that I couldn't. I mean, let's not fool ourselves, Diego. I gave you everything there was humanly possible to offer, and we both know that. But still, how the hell could you manage to seduce so many women? You're such an ugly son of a bitch. I'm not writing to accuse you of anything that we haven't already accused each other of in this and however many more bloody lives. It's because I'm having a leg cut off. Bloody thing got what it wanted in the end. I've told you before that I've counted myself as incomplete. But why the fuck does everybody else need to know about it too? Now my fragmentation will be obvious for everybody to see, for you to see. And so I'm telling you now before you hear it on the grapevine. Forgive my not coming to your house to tell you in person, but given the circumstances and my condition, I'm not allowed to leave the room, not even to use the bathroom. It is not my intention to make you or anybody else feel pity, and I don't want you to feel guilty. I'm writing to let you know that I'm releasing you. I'm amputating you. Be happy and never seek me again. I don't want to hear from you. And I don't want you to hear from me. If there's anything I'd enjoy more before I die, it'd be not having to see your horrible fucking face wandering around my garden. That is all. I can now go to be chopped up in peace. Goodbye from somebody who is crazy and vehemently in love with you.
It's Wednesday, and it's 3 hours past the midnight hour, and you're heavy on my mind. I can't keep up with all the thoughts racing faster than the speed of light. I have so much I want to say, and I don't even know where to begin. My whole being is mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted, constantly replaying our last moments together. It's been 5 years, 60 months, 260 weeks, and 1,823 days since the end of our world. 5 years of holding back tears and keeping myself from tripping over the thought of your name. 5 years of being stuck on the love that I had for you. 5 years of living with the excuses of what may seem like justifications of my actions. In reality, I was stuck in the past. The sleepless nights and melancholy days filled with hopeless dreams of one day taking back everything I gave. Every man after you has been unfairly suffering the consequences of your actions. This burning sensation in my chest has festered into such hatred towards everything in sight, in mind and in body. So many years have gone by, I still remember your name and your birthday. Hate is so strong, it carries more weight than all the planets of our Milky Way galaxy combined. But in your case, hate describes how I feel about you to every letter and syllable of the word. We all have one, our first love. The first example of knowing what it truly means to be naked, falling head over heels while soaring above the clouds, above all the worries and cares of the world. This person becomes the significant other, significant in meaning, significant in all ways. The late night phone calls that lasted longer than getting your hair and nails done at the salon. The sneaking around with friends, trying to cover for you and them. The all day cuddling, watching favorite movies, or her favorite movies because you want to show her you love her, and vice versa. The last minutes when you're on the phone or cuddling before you say goodnight or see you later, and you just want those last minutes to last just a little longer. Then the day comes where both of you make the decision to take it to the next level, where your harmonic bodies intertwining, creating beautiful melodies of sweet as candy music. It seems too good to be true, that you have allowed someone else the permission to see all sides of you. Love is a dangerous risk we are all willing to take, but the results are always life-changing.
I'm learning to remind myself that your hands do not mean love, just because they're around my thighs and not my neck. The silence between our conversations wasn't your admiration, just an admittance to guilt. I will never understand why my time was not good enough for you. Why you sought out comfort from a high instead of all of the words I've ripped from my chest to give to you. You know how difficult that is for me. And now I'm finding it hard to cope with the fact that I shared so much of myself with someone whom did not see the value in that, even after I left. I feel like there are huge chunks of me missing inside of your memories, and I want them back. I want them all back, please.
It's always been said that you never really know what you have until it's gone. But after losing you, I realized that I not only didn't know what I had, but I didn't know who I was, or what I was doing. With your undeniable love for me and my developed codependence on your happiness. I can't honestly say that I ever truly knew how to appreciate the light that you brought into my life. And it pains me to think about all the times that I neglected to allow you to help me become a better man. I thought maybe we had grown apart, but the truth is, you grew, and I, at the time, did not. I wasn't ready to take the steps necessary to maintain our relationship, but I know you tried your best. There was never any ultimatum. There was never a threat of ending the relationship. You tried your best to help me see what would be best for me and for us. Your strong, magnanimous, and tenacious attitude turned my apathy towards dating at the height of my touring career into a feeling that I couldn't bear living without. The comfort you showed me, the freedom and acceptance to be myself, it was one of the most freeing feelings of my life. And I couldn't imagine us not spending the rest of our lives together. I loved your family, your relationship with your friends, your incredible drive. It's just about everything you could ask for. But I got too comfortable. after being pursued for the first time in my life to that degree, I felt this sense of entitlement, something telling me I didn't need to try as hard. And yeah, as poor a decision as that is, that's what I did. And in retrospect, I see that. I see this loss of ambition, drive. I see the loss of the things in me that you found attractive and exciting. In retrospect, as I said, it makes sense. We were young. When you left me, I was in a meeting, and I unfortunately couldn't answer. But I rushed out and called you back from my car, just to see how you were, and tell you that I missed you. You were crying. And when I asked why, you said that we had to break up, without really being able to put together the words as to why. Still, I was heartbroken, just instantly. I stayed in my car for 3 hours after that, just crying, wondering why the woman that I wanted to marry had left. And we didn't talk for a long time after that. About a year and a half later, you messaged me while you were briefly in town, and we got coffee. And it felt like our first date. And I missed you more than ever when I saw you. And after that, you'd message me here or there on Christmas or on my birthday. A couple years ago, I sent some gifts to your family, for Christmas that you thought were inappropriate. Just considering the fact that we weren't dating. I haven't heard from you since. But I hope you're doing well. Or at least better than my heart has been. I find it hard to trust people now. And I've been single for years, just due to fear of failure. But that's not your fault, though. I should have paid better attention to the man that you wanted to help me become.
Dear ex-lover, I promise I'll stop chasing your memory in my dreams. I'll stop bringing your name up over cups of coffee, muffins, and loneliness. I will marry a man. And I will lay my heart on his chest like red roses on mahogany caskets. And I'll have his daughter. And she'll have eyes reminding me that God still believes in second chances. And if she ever decided to love a woman, I will rub bravery down her spine. I will be reminded of the times that we love like they were expiration dates tattooed on our inner thighs. If she ever comes home with eyelids like cracking levees and bruised kneecaps and a heart filled with question marks, I will hold her like my mother never held me. I will clasp her face in my palms like the New Testament on Judgment Day. I'll tell her that love is the passion that allows you to do the right thing, and that no woman can play coaster to a half-empty heart. And if she ever feels alone, as if she's a hand-me-down plucked from the depths of mommy's closet, I'll remember your name. And I'll mumble it under my breath. And if she asks me what I said, I'll tell her I know what it's like to drag a woman out of a Cold War, and then being too worn to clean up the battlefield it has made of you. I'll tell her that your heartbeat sounded like gun shells tripping over battered cement. I'll tell her that I know what it's like to just want someone to remember you. And that some women are as foul as expired men in produce aisles. And that apologies are like oxygen masks on hijacked planes. Forgive yourself before you ever forgive the person sitting next to you. I'll tell her to never regret loving in permanent ink, and that scars only give you stretch marks, something to gossip about. And that hearts and stop signs are like fraternal twins, lost in open roads and hollow chests. And if my daughter's mirror ever looks unfamiliar and she's too embarrassed and prideful to run to mommy's arms, I'll pray that she has friends with hearts filled with thousands of fireflies who are not too cool to pray with her, who will tell her to stop looking for the light at the end of the tunnel and find God in the darkness. If my daughter ever walks in my house like shattering glass, I will tell her about you. I will tell her that we hurt like C-sections birthing dead babies, and that we cried together, and we prayed together, and we laughed like our smiles were the only ones that mattered in this world. And that we hurt like women who loved people who didn't love us. Dear ex-lover, I hoped my daughter never knows what a goodbye kiss feels like. I hope she never knows what "I'll see you later" really means. I hope she never memorizes the dial tone of a last conversation. Because a broken heart feels like poison butterflies taking their last flight in the pit of your stomach. Dear ex-lover, I hope my daughter never bares her soul at a poetry showcase with her first love sitting in the audience, knowing that the hands she'll use to applaud her will be the same hands that she never holds again.
My boyfriend in college wrote a note to me on a Post-it for me to find. I kept it in my wallet for a very long time after we broke up. I think just as a reminder that once someone had loved me.
The first time I saw her, everything in my head went quiet. All the tics, the constantly refreshing images just disappeared. When you have obsessive compulsive disorder, you don't really get quiet moments. Even in bed, I'm thinking, did I lock the door? Yes. Did I wash my hands? Yes. Did I lock the door? Yes. Did I wash my hands? Yes. But when I saw her, all I could think about was the hairpin curve of her lips, or the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek. I knew I had to talk to her. I asked her out 6 times in 30 seconds. She said yes after the 3rd one, but none of them felt right, so I had to keep going. On our first date, I spent more time organizing my meal by color than I did eating or talking to her. But she loved it. She loved that I had to kiss her goodbye 16 times, or 24 times if it was a Wednesday. She loved that it took me forever to walk home because there are lots of cracks on our sidewalk. When we moved in together, she said she felt safe, like no one would ever rob us because I definitely locked the door 18 times. I used to watch her mouth when she talked, 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 when she talked. When she said she loved me, her mouth would curve up at the edges. At night, she'd lay in bed and watch me turn all the lights off and on and 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 off. She'd close her eyes and imagine the days and nights were just passing in front of her. Some mornings, I'd start kissing her goodbye, but she'd just leave because I was making her late for work. When I would stop at a crack on the sidewalk, she'd keep walking. When she said she loved me, her mouth was a straight line. She said I was taking up too much of her time. Last week, she started sleeping at her mother's place. She said she shouldn't have let me get so attached to her, that this whole thing was a mistake. But how can it be a mistake if I don't have to wash my hands after I touch her? Love is not a mistake, and it's killing me that she could just run away from this, and I can't just go out and find someone new because I am always thinking of her. Usually, when I obsess over things, I see germs sneaking into my skin. I see myself crushed by an endless succession of cars, but she was the first beautiful thing I got stuck on. I want to wake up every morning picturing how she uses her steering wheel, how she turns shower knobs like she's opening a safe, how she blows out candles, 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 blows out. Now all I can see is her kissing someone else. And I can't breathe because he only kisses her once. He doesn't care if it's perfect. I want her back so bad. I leave the door unlocked. I leave the lights on.
I probably should have written this a lot sooner, but I guess I just didn't know what exactly to say. This whole thing is so weird to me. We aren't together, but we never really broke up. I guess I'm still hoping that one day you'll call me and everything will go back to how it was when we first started talking. I miss you. I miss you more than anything or anyone in the world right now. I miss the way you made me laugh. I miss your hugs and kisses. I miss absolutely everything about us. My heart hurts for you. I hate that you're dealing with everything that you're dealing with. And on the selfish side of things, I hate that it affected what we had. I held on a long time. I held on a lot longer than it seems. Please don't think my decision to end things was an easy one. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. And I cried about it and thought about it daily. I love you. And I don't know if you still love me, but I love you. You want to know how I know that? How I know that even after not seeing or speaking to you after so long that I still love you? I know because you're still the first thing I think about when I realize that I'm sad. I know because the littlest things remind me of you. I know because there is still a small part of me that feels like we'll make it, even though we didn't. And me writing yet another letter is just another example. I am writing to you. I'm writing to you even though I probably won't get a response. I want you to know that no one has ever made me feel the way you did. You have a huge piece of my heart and always will. You've impacted my life on great levels, and I don't think you even realize how much I appreciate that. Just keep telling myself it was the wrong timing. But on the other hand, I also know that there are many things that are meant to be, and they work out when the time is right. I said it when we first met. You came into my life right at the perfect timing. You came into my life when I needed you the most, and even though you didn't stay that long, I still truly feel that you'll come back into my life. I don't know how you feel about me anymore, and maybe I never will. You may have completely moved on, but I can't say I'll ever completely move forward. It took me a really long time to end things because there was nothing I wanted more than to be able to talk to you one last time. There's so many things that I wanted to do and still want to ask you and tell you. I just hate that I may not be able to do it as soon as I would like to. But I'm going to keep writing, even though I may never get a response. I'm going to keep writing until you tell me to stop because there's still a part of me that needs you. And if this is the closest I can get to you, then so be it.
I want you to know that I'll never blame you. You will never have to apologize for the mistakes that I made. You should never feel guilty for my being in the wrong place in life to be a better person. I want you to know how lucky we are that nothing happened when I thought it would. If things had turned out differently, I truly believed it would have ended badly for both of us. Because I didn't understand. I didn't understand myself, the person I was, or that I needed to become, let alone how to be a good partner. Knowing the mistakes I already made in trying, I'm confident I would have made more. It's better for both of us I didn't get that chance. I want you to know, wherever you are, that I'm so proud of you. I know that you sent me on a much-needed journey of personal change, and I'm sure you've had one of your own. I hope it was as positive for you as it has been for me. And if our paths cross again one day, we might not even recognize each other. That might even be nice. I want you to know how grateful I am to have known you for such a short period of time. Even though it wasn't the right time and I wasn't the right me, you left me with some wonderful memories that remind me how far I've come. I hope they do the same to you. To someone I love, I want you to know part of me always will.
I just wanted to update you on what's going on. I'm doing pretty well at treatment. It's hard, but I'm getting through it. I just wanted to say thank you for always sticking by me and believing in me. It means so much that you stayed with me for the length of time that you did. It shows how good a person you are, especially since I wasn't able to even be in contact with you or see you. I guess the timing of our relationship wasn't good at all, but if it's okay with you, I would love to stay friends as we move forward from this. I have a long road ahead of me still, but I just wanted to make sure you knew how much I appreciated your support during all this, and to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope all is well with you.
When I was driving to meet you for lunch, after 15 years of not having talked, I thought to myself, what am I even doing? I haven't seen this person in so long. We'll probably have nothing to talk about. I walked up to the restaurant and saw you through the window, already sitting at the table. I thought you were just as beautiful as you were in high school. The light made your hair look slightly blue. I wondered if you were a cool blue-haired person now. You greeted me with the same warmth and smile from back then. I was hooked from the first moment. I was absolutely fascinated with you back in high school, but probably didn't quite know what I was feeling at the time. The blue hair turned out to be your grays, which I loved even more. As I sat there across from you, I couldn't believe how easy it was to connect with you after all this time. And I think it was you. You have a way to make one feel seen, heard, and understood. It's your power, and you know it. But I loved it, and I let myself fall. I expected that you'd tell me that you're married with kids, though secretly I hoped for another story. When you finally divulged that you'd come out quite some time ago, I thought to myself, this is it. I found her. I found my person. My heart was full of what might become of the possibility of us. I stared at you while living in my dream. And somewhere in the distance, I heard you say, I've been living with a woman in a relationship for the past 8 years. Who knew? And then you laughed. Of course you were. I knew right then and there, by the way that you talked about her, that you were in it. You were in it the way people wish someone was with them. I fell in love with you in moments, and I had to accept that it will never be in moments. It's like meeting the woman of your dreams and then meeting her beautiful wife. Pronouns aside, the lyrics were never clearer to me. I will never forget that day, that entire conversation, our walk around town afterwards. You hugged me, and I think you knew that we'd made a connection too. We both recognized it, but I was convinced that I would drive away and I wouldn't hear from you for quite some long time. But then, there you were, in my messages. I kept hearing from you. I kept falling deeper for how easy a connection we had. I was angry at times. Why were you taking up my time when you're with someone else? Didn't you realize what you're doing to me? But you were offering up your friendship and you were asking for mine. When once I half-jokingly suggested that I might fall in love with you, you answered that you could never imagine that someone like me would be interested in someone like you. There was a lot behind my half-joke, and there was a lot behind your answer. There was a recognition of how things are and how they'll never be. But there was a love of sorts. And maybe we're not meant to be with everyone we love deeply. It just can't be. But you held on to me because you knew. And I'm glad you did. Because your friendship has meant so much.
Even though I don't see you as much, and sometimes we go a while without talking, I love you and care for you, and you are a huge impact and importance in my life. I'm so lucky that you're in my life again, especially because I don't deserve that.